Alright, so it's been a few days since the Saints Row Reboot announcement trailers dropped. Stuff is slowly calming down, not that much though, just a tad bit. And during these few couple of days, we've actually managed to see some gameplay out of it. And so far the gameplay looks meh. Apparently influencers managed to see better gameplay of this game, and for some reason they're not releasing it to the public, which, why? This documentary thing was a step in the wrong direction. They should have just taken the Rockstar route and just made a presentation about the game. But look, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt for now. Hopefully we get to see more of this epic gameplay that everybody's talking about that we've never seen. But the gameplay isn't really why I'm here. I'm here because a lot of what I see about the characters of the game and the whole story is, well, to put it lightly, concerning. As people are pointing out, the characters look like hipsters. They don't look anything like Saints Row characters. People are saying that some of the enemies look more like Saints Row characters than the actual Saints. The main character designs are just a shit show. They're just terrible. It looks like they belong in a Life is Strange game. They don't belong in a gang simulator. But hold on, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Do you want to really know the motivation for these characters to join a gang? Was it because they were brought up into that life like most actual gang members? Nope. Oh, was it because you were caught in the wrong place at the wrong time? No. It's to pay college debt. Oh, and also being part of a community. I'm sorry, but what kind of fruity bullshit is that? First of all, it's kind of extremely hard to believe that a college graduate suddenly turns into a life of crime just to pay off their debt. Most of them, I don't know, they find a job they study for. Unless they become an art or gender studies graduate, then yeah, you're fucked. I mean, it was easier to believe that a street gang became a pop culture icon because it happened before in real life. But I mean, this is just taking it to a whole different level. I mean, so right off the bat, they managed to screw up the characters pretty bad, at least for now. The character backgrounds don't really help shine a light to this. They're pretty generic tropes. One of them doesn't wear a shirt for some reason, and that's supposed to be, I guess, funny, or I don't know. Hey, but who knows, this might be the best story in the series. You know, instead of planning your missions at a bar or something, you plan them at a barista, you know, a fucking Starbucks, sipping on $14 coffee while you complain about capitalism or something, I don't know. But with the iceberg, we're not even in the deep end yet. Saints Row is known for their wacky, sometimes crude, in-game shops. One of the more famous stores is Freckle Bitches, which is supposed to be like a parody of Wendy's. And it's pretty hilarious to see the word bitch and like a fucking store sign. Who could forget about the movie theater snack bar, shit to eat? Who could forget about rim jobs? What about sloppy seconds or on the rag? Well, looks like we're having none of that in the next Saints Row game. And why is that? Well, according to Volition, they wanted to appeal to modern audiences. Oof. So that edgy humor Saints Row is known for? Right out the window, because people on Twitter will have a field day. By modern audiences, they mean the woke audience. You know, the people that eat cat food, get pissed off for everything. The people that have a list of demands and don't even buy the shit they're targeting. Yeah, average folk that you want to be marketing towards. Oh, get this. I like how the Boon says that the original games were a product of their time. Yeah, better time. So does this mean that rim jobs and freckle bitches are wiped from existence in this reboot? No, of course not. They're still here, but in different form. Yeah, all they did was remove the funny, but they're still here. Rim jobs became gym robs. Oh, okay. And freckle bitches became FBS. Yeah, so they removed the charm and the funny from the name. And you might be wondering to yourselves, with all this backlash, what was Volition thinking? I mean, they had a whole ass community telling them that they wanted to go back to their gang roots. Did they listen? I mean, I guess they did, but it was like a monkey's paw wish. I mean, we definitely have gangs, but not the gangs that everybody wants. The street thug, the gangster fucking people, you know, the stereotypes. Instead, we get I don't know, a bunch of geeky nerds. Be careful what you wish for. But seriously though, what stood out to me throughout all of this had to be the ending of the gameplay trailer. This quote in particularly.
We started this journey searching for the new Saints. And where we got to is, it was time to tell a new story.
Bitch, get the fuck out of here. There are still open-ended questions in the original games, and you're telling me it's time? What the fuck happened to Killbane after Saints Row 3? What happened to Troy after Saints Row 2? Who the fuck is Griffin? Why the hell is he helping us? What the fuck was this nerd teasing talking about the end? Question mark? Why can't we get revenge on Dex? Look, don't tell me that Get Out of Hell counted because it didn't count. That was a cop-out. I refuse to accept that was us getting revenge on Dex. I don't want to fucking hear it. It really wasn't the best time to start over. Especially after fans created a connection between these characters. I mean, Piers, Shondi, Johnny, yeah, all that out the door. Let's replace them with fucking shirtless guy and Chris Rock, Steve Urkel looking motherfucker. Alright, but you know, time to get serious. We've had our rant, we've had everything. Time to move on to the topic at hand. This pretty much motivated me to make this video. Why I personally think Volition decided to meet us halfway, pretty much. Well, simply put, they're not allowed to make a Gangster Saints Row. Hey Holmes, but they did it before, what the fuck? Yeah, but let me remind you what the Boon said. Those games were a product of their time. He also called us Latin X. And Boon, I love you, but please never call us that again. But anyway, Saints Row came out at a time where edgy and offensive humor were pretty much accepted. Alright, let me give you a history lesson as to why it was, and don't worry, I'm not gonna call nobody a fucking Nazi or anything like several other Twitter users might, you know? Those Tumblr refugees, if you know what I mean. Alright, so pretty much during the 20th century, the media and several branches of government were controlled by what we know as the religious right. Now, the religious right were a group of individuals who were pretty much hardcore Christians for the most part. They were pro-censorship, they were anti-freedom of speech. They tried to deplatform and villainize anyone they disagreed with pretty much. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Well, basically people just had enough of it, basically sparking rebellious movements. These people were pretty much known as Generation X, and they pretty much influenced a bunch of shit that we know now, like punk rock and heavy metal and pop and all that bullshit. This also inspired a bunch of people to become stand-up comedians, and a bunch of these people made their living off edgy and crude humor, and the religious right hated it, as it went against most of their morals. This basically continued on into the late 2010s, where they slowly but surely lost a lot of power. And that should be the end of it, right? Radical groups of people surely aren't manipulating public opinion anymore, right? Oh, well that's where you're wrong. When the religious right lost grasp of the government and the media, the radical left sort of popped right in their place like and the radical left is pretty much comprised of your everyday social justice warrior, your radical feminist, you know, the chicks that hate men, they absolutely despise men, you know, your average soy boy, the people that will absolutely cancel you for farting the wrong way. Those are pretty much the people that replaced the religious right. Now we all just pretty much eat shit and sleep the way they want to. If you're out of line, they pretty much come at you with pitchforks on Twitter. Basically, the radical left is what the religious right wanted to be so bad but failed at. The radical left pretty much vilifies anybody that dares to say anything offensive or edgy. Instead of hitting people with the fear of God and labeling you as a worshiper of Satan for fucking picking your nose with the left finger instead of the right, these people pretty much threaten your livelihood and pretty much label you as a Yahtzee white supremacist right-winger bigot. Yeah. Fuck it, I want the religious right back, bro. So nowadays, if you dare to say something remotely edgy, you will be chased out of Dodge, let me tell you. It also doesn't help that being edgy is sort of linked to being a 12-year-old because Twitter said so and we let them, which is far from the truth because edgy humor is enjoyed by a lot of people. Especially nowadays where it's all taboo and shit. Oh, if only they knew who popularized being edgy. But pretty much all of that is basically why Saints Row can't go back to being gangster. At least, that's how I see it. I mean, just imagine if they made a gangster-style game nowadays. The game's journalists will never shut the fuck up about it. You're stereotyping people in poverty! Saints Row is being misogynistic! Saints Row is promoting xenophobia and Asian hate! So yeah, my guess to all of this is that Volition is way too afraid of making an actual, down-to-earth Saints Row game because of public backlash. And by public, I mean games journalists, Twitter users, fucking Tumblr users, you know, all those fucking people. They're just gonna be fucking on Volition's ass 24/7, demanding changes even though they're not gonna play the fucking game. Long story short, it probably doesn't have to do anything with the fans, more so the people that aren't fans. But hey, I mean, I could be wrong entirely, and that's just the way it is. If you want to continue the discussion, my friend Tariq owns a pretty cool Saints Row themed server, if you want to talk about it or whatever. I'm also on Twitter, so if you want to reach out to me there, that's fine. Links will be down in the description. Before I go though, I wanted to respond to this Reddit post. I just read it once and I just completely disagree with it. Before I get to reading it though, you know, you guys are smart, don't go and harass this person. He has the right to like what he saw so far, just like he's open to criticism though, so I'm just, you know, I'm just putting the word out there. So the Reddit post is titled, "People have selective memory and reading capabilities, and no understanding of subtext, sarcasm, jokes, or cultural relevance." So it starts off with student loans, seriously? That's why they're criminals? First off, duh, people get into crime because of their financial trouble. I mean, sure, that's one reason why, but student loans, I mean, it's a pretty shitty reason. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. And this was clearly made to be hashtag relatable. I don't know, it just doesn't click with me. And apparently to many others as well. Eli looks like Steve Urkel, not a gangster. Yeah, I agree. His character model has some clear deficiencies. His character, however, does not. Oh boy. From the little we see of him in the Welcome to Santo Ileso trailer, he is not some goofy dorky nerd, rather some serious but sarcastic criminal businessman. I didn't really get that vibe from him. I guess different strokes for different folks, I guess. Oh, this is where it gets really terrible, and you'll see why in a minute. They censored the game! Look what they did to freckle bitches and rim jobs, which I covered earlier. First off, the developers were always split on the name Freckle Bitches because there was absolutely nothing clever about it, and they provide a source with a timestamp. This would have been a valid argument if Freckle Bitches was just a one and done gag. But no, the developers actually brought Freckle Bitches back countless times actually, mainly in Saints Row 2. There was small little references and cameos in Saints Row the 3rd. In Saints Row 4, it made countless appearances in the form of references, so clearly if they were really ashamed of it, they wouldn't have brought it back or referenced it in any way. Also, changing your image and marketing to something simplistic and short is very much something real companies do. Yeah, but this is a fucking video game. And then he referenced the Burger King logo and how they shortened it to just be BK, which by the way, corporate simplicity sucks. But let's be honest with each other, that's not the reason why they changed the logo. There's a reason why they got rid of that scantily clad chick. Let's not kid ourselves here, alright? Alright, secondly, Jim Robs is literally the same joke as Rim Job. It takes no effort or imagination to figure that out. Yeah, probably towards fans, but newcomers aren't gonna know that. Maybe you need joke spelled out to you, I don't know. But it's very much still obvious that the name refers to someone tongue punching. Like I said before, it just ruins the joke of the original, and newcomers aren't gonna get the reference. Oh, this is a cringe part. The developers don't even know why Kevin is shirtless. They don't know what they're doing with their characters. He starts it off with, "It's a joke," and joke is in bold letters. Meant to characterize Kevin as somebody who does some very unique and weird things without there being a good reason to, because that's just the kind of person he is. Well, that wouldn't make it a joke, right? That would make it an explanation. Oh yeah, this is where they use that cringe Rick and Morty excuse. Remember a while back when Rick and Morty was exploding in popularity and then like some Redditors made a rage post about people not enjoying the show because of the jokes and stuff? Sort of like kind of this one. And then they go, well, to be fair, you do need a high IQ to understand all the Rick and Morty jokes or some shit like that. They basically do the same shit here, I'm not even kidding, look. But of course, that would require the ability to read subtext and understand jokes. Something that a surprising amount of people lack. Yeah, so if you don't find shirtless Kevin funny, you don't understand jokes. You fail at comedy. Seriously, ask any fiction writer. People either miss the subtext or just completely invent their own. Well, then that's a shitty joke, isn't it? They went woke, this is just a hipster SJW simulator. I did not make this phrasing up. Yellow Flash 2 and Mannix did. No, they didn't. That's actually the entire internet. The entire internet made that up. Well, I shouldn't say made that up because we saw it with our own eyes. Yeah, whatever. Every game that doesn't cater to these capital G gamers will be decried as woke and a failure. Man, Sir Salty, do you have a background in video game journalism? I'm guessing what he means by capital G gamers are people who don't like to be preached at while playing video games, you know, and escape reality for a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Oh, and this has got to be the worst part for the whole post. Gangs and gangsters still exist, why didn't they make that? And he responds with, because it's not culturally relevant. Are you kidding me? Being gangster is not culturally relevant? You know that one song by Hall & Oates? You're out of touch, I'm out of time. That's literally you right now, bro. I'm sorry. Have you seen pop culture lately? Have you at all touched grass recently? Yeah, believe it or not, gangster rap is still a very popular genre of music. Gang culture is arguably more relevant today than it was like 10, 20 years ago. I mean, everywhere I go, I see motherfuckers sagging. The thug persona is literally still alive, man. It's bigger than ever, let me tell you. And this is coming from someone who grew up in the South Central LA ghetto during the 90s. It wasn't as big as it was back then, let me tell you. The reason SR1 and 2 are so heavily on the gangster bling hip-hop themes was because that was relevant at the time, not because gangs exist. Again, hip-hop themes are more relevant now than they were back then, so that's not really an excuse. It was prevalent in pop culture. Hell, 50 Cent was making his own video game at the time, and both GTA and Saints Row arrived at a game about gang culture around the same independently. But either way, it doesn't really matter, since we already established that hip-hop culture is still relevant today than it was back in the day. So, and as time went on, the theme became less prevalent in both pop media and Saints Row as well. Even Saints Row 2 went easier on the bling, with Johnny wearing his suit pants and a buttoned shirt, or in the clothes selection of the game. Have you seen the box art of the game? Have you seen several promotional images of the game? They were definitely marketing towards hip-hop fans. I mean, there's no hiding that. And while the game does have a lighter presence in like gang clothing and stuff like that, I'd argue that that actually has more to do with the story of the game rather than actually moving away from like the gang culture itself. I mean, we have Altor gentrifying Stillwater as a whole, so it's not really that big of a surprise if we can't find gang or hip-hop related clothing. By 2011, all the big rappers and stuff started moving away from baggy pants, guns, and tank top, instead showing off sports cars and mansions. I'm not sure how old you are, but that's actually been a thing since the 90s. I mean, rappers literally made songs and music videos about their fames and riches. I mean, it's been a thing for a long time. Even throughout the 2000s with Bling My Ride, MTV Cribs, I mean, it's literally nothing new. Saints Row wasn't moving with pop culture. It was trying to move away from the stigma that it was a GTA clone. And also, they need a game to sell to more than a couple thousand people on Reddit. And yeah, they could definitely sell a lot more if it just went back to its roots by being an urban gang simulator. You know, just like the fans wanted all along. And also, if the Saints Row Twitter account would just shut the fuck up and stop insulting all its customers. Games sell by the millions, and 90% of the millions of people that buy games aren't hanging out on Reddit. Joke's on you, I don't even hang out on Reddit. I can see why people make fun of Reddit though. I'm guessing that they think that every Saints Row fan is a Redditor. Holmes, believe it or not, the internet is way more bigger than just Reddit. Drenched in nostalgia about the old games. Alright, first of all, this is a really flawed argument, and I'll tell you why. So right off the bat, a lot of people know that I started the series off with Saints Row the 3rd, which by no means is considered the old school games. It wasn't until right before Saints Row 4 where I started playing the old school games, and right then and there I sort of developed a respect for the games. I absolutely enjoyed them through and through. So to say that people are nostalgia blind just because they don't like the new Saints Row look, it's just plain ridiculous in my opinion. It's a really easy cop-out to critique anything new, just using nostalgia as a way to just negate any criticism whatsoever about new media. So we can easily throw this argument right out the window. If you talk to people with only a casual interest in either video games or Saints Row, they will most likely just say that the trailer looked fine. And my friends did. My friends did say that the trailer looked cool, up until it said Saints Row. Before that, we thought that it was just a glorified mobile game or something that they were advertising. But yeah, go off, I guess. Oh, and before you ask, my friends are indeed casual gamers and not really super hardcore into it. They knew what Saints Row was, but that's because I talk about it on YouTube a lot. Most people play Saints Row not for the gang themes, but for gameplay, activities, and the world. Sure, that's just some of the reason why, but that's not entirely why people choose to play Saints Row. I fucking love Fallout. One of my favorite games ever is Fallout New Vegas. A game that is very popular but I can't stand is The Elder Scrolls Skyrim. And that mainly has to do with its setting. I just can't get into the medieval fantasy kind of fucking setting. It bores me to death. No offense to those who like it. So in return, maybe people feel the same way about other Saints Row games not being gangster. I mean, you can't really overlook those people, can you? I don't think it would be fair. Sure, they'll enjoy the story, but most people simply aren't interested in the themes specifically the game has. Oh, I beg to differ, man. You might think that it's very important to people, but that's because you live in your own filtered bubble. No, the reason why I know people are passionate about it is because they're literally plastering that all over Twitter and commenting it all over YouTube. I can see with my own eyes. I don't have to make up a whole reality where people just care about the themes of the game. It's all about the stylization of the game, and that's one of the reasons AOM failed, is because its art style was being compared to Overwatch, which was an art style that was being overly saturated at the time. If you think that people don't find that important, then you're living in your own filtered bubble, you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like ironic. You interact primarily with people equally as into or as passionate about Saints Row and its themes. I literally don't. I actually like both games, believe it or not. I sort of lean a little bit on one side over the other, if I'm completely honest here. But I can sort of understand why the OG side likes the OG games and why the new school side likes the new school games. Hell, I literally made a whole ass video on it actually. And look, I think I had enough of this post. The rest is pretty much regurgitating the same point over and over again. And they try to explain why the trailer has a lot of dislikes by saying that negative opinions are more likely to be expressed than somebody with positive opinions, which is kind of a dumb point, I'm not gonna lie. If that was the case, then Metroid Dread's trailer would be sitting with downvotes. Or literally any game for that matter. Especially Halo Infinite. Well, that's pretty much it for the video. No hate towards the guy again. I know I goofed on him a little bit by doing that stupid little voice and shit. But seriously, I mean no hate. If you're excited about the game, then good on you. I mean, that's perfectly fine. But if people are dreary about the game as well, then let them be dreary. I mean, it is what it is. People already made up their mind on it. They're either gonna try it or they aren't. It's really not that big of a deal. After all, it doesn't really affect you, right? So anyways, y'all, thank you for watching this video. This is completely unscripted, so apologies for stumbling on words. Sometimes they're saying a lot. I know it can get annoying. Again, I don't mean any hate towards the guy. I just have a different point of view on everything that's going on right now. Anyways, y'all, thank you for watching. I appreciate the recent support. Take care, and I'll see you all around the hood. Peace.
Like you're gonna buy a breakfast in the morning.
They're left here.